Hello, everybody. I'm Father Christopher Tiano, pastor of St. Paul VI Parish in Hamden, Connecticut. St. Paul VI Parish is a community of believers in Jesus Christ who are united in our commitment in loving service to worship, evangelize, and give. We welcome all people to join in our vision to be a light in the darkness. And this is Light in the Darkness, our weekly video cast. And during Lent, we've been talking about saints. And with us, I have a parishioner, Gina D'Agostino, who has a grand devotion to Saint Therese of Lisieux, one of my favorites. I like Therese of Lisieux, and I know you do too. It's kind of interesting. I said before we started the filming, I told her that I didn't start with my relationship with Saint Therese through reading her book. I started by reading Dorothy Day's book on Therese. And then that introduced me to Therese of Lisieux. How did you get interested in Therese?
From my mom. My mom had a special devotion to Saint Therese of Lisieux. And then I did also. And then when I joined the Colombiettes, my devotion became much stronger because she is one of our patron saints. And then I decided to read her autobiography, and I read it about 3 times, and I continue to read it because it's so rich with how her little way helps all of us to evangelize a little bit by putting the love of God in ourselves and in other people. Just her little way, just the little way that we can do that through prayer, through presence, just through being there for people in the parish.
She's a fascinating story because she was very young.
Really
She died at 25.
24. There's 24
right,
beads on her chaplet.
Right, 24. Much of the autobiography is about her childhood, her teenage years, and it's very, very interesting.
It's really interesting how she was formed with her parents and her sisters, also who went into the Carmelite order. And her sister Marie, very interesting, was the person who at her communion said, "You can be a little saint by doing God's little way." So she started there at the time of her communion, and her sisters were also Carmelites. And so that is kind of her story. Yes, except one.
Yes.
One did not.
Right.
Yes, that's correct.
But she's so accessible, and we talked about this before we started filming. She's one of the first saints we have a lot of photographs of, and I think that causes us to connect with her in a totally different way.
I think so too, because the photographs are so beautiful.
Yes.
They're absolutely beautiful. There's photographs of her as a sister, photographs of her as a young girl. She describes herself as kind of an awkward little girl, but I believe the photographs are beautiful.
Yes, it's very fascinating. The great photograph is when she's a child and going to Rome, and she has to look older for the Holy Father to convince him to let her enter the Carmel younger.
Right.
And she wears her hair up on her head. It's a great photo.
Yes, it is.
You know. So if someone was interested in Therese of Lisieux, what would you suggest?
I would suggest reading A Story of a Soul. I think it's very rich. I would suggest reading Making of a Saint by John Beevers. The third thing I would suggest is to drive to her shrine in Burrillville, Rhode Island. And that is so rich with her history, and everything there is devoted to her. So I would suggest that as the third thing.
I can give a fourth thing.
Okay.
Something I did was I went to Lisieux. Lisieux is just amazing to be in her house, to realize that what you read about in her biography, her autobiography, is right in front of you. Famously, in Therese's life, she had a vision of Mary speaking to her, and the statue of Mary is in her bedroom, and it's so amazing to see. See, Therese to me is a great saint because of the little way. And I love the concept of flowers, that, you know, we're all flowers in the flower garden. And sometimes we're roses and sometimes we're daisies. And the daisy doesn't realize that it's not roses, and the roses don't realize that they're not daisies. And we all, however God calls us, it's a beautiful thing.
Right,
you know.
Right.
So we have links. I guess if you do this professionally, you go right below here or over there, but I don't know where they're going to be. But we have links to guide people to different places.
Right.
Certainly, if you're a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, you can read the book for free because it's part of Kindle Unlimited. So that's something to know. But it's great stuff. What's your favorite part of your devotion to Therese?
I think just the little way,
Okay.
and trying to emulate that in my everyday life with little sacrifices, little kindnesses to people. She talks a lot about little sacrifices for other people. I think that my favorite quote is, everything is a grace because everything is a gift from God, whatever it be the unexpected events of life, to the heart that loves all is well. And that is kind of what I hold in my heart. That's my favorite part, is that having the love of God and knowing the love of God through her sayings and through what she said in her devotions.
She said she also wanted to continue to do good in heaven.
That's right.
For us.
Yeah.
And I think that's she's patron of our the missions.
Missionaries.
Be something that she wanted to do and couldn't do because of her tuberculosis. She's inspired so many people in so many different ways, and she continues to inspire people today. Well, I'm glad you were with us today.
Thank you, Father.
I'm
Thank
glad
you.
that you're part of our task to be a light in the darkness, and I'm glad that if anything we said about St. Therese inspires you. I hope you read the book. The Augustine Institute, forum.org, has some great films. They're beautiful. My favorite Therese film is a French film that's so hard to find. And when I find it accidentally, it's so powerful, so moving, and her death is always a moment of sadness for me watching it. But St. Therese of Lisieux, a way to help us and guide us so that you and I and all of us watching can be a light in the dark.